The main A2 road into Dover, the queue was continuous. The UK government estimated some 1,500 lorries had been stranded, but a drive around the approach roads to the port revealed many more than that, parked up and waiting for news. News eventually came that the blockade would be lifted, but only for those with proof of a negative COVID test. And that is no use at all to the thousands of drivers whose hopes of reaching home for Christmas are now gone.
Now it's done. It's finished. From here to go home, we have about almost 2,000 miles. It's about 45 hours to drive non-stop. No sleep, just drive. And we can make it.
If COVID testing is to be the precondition for reopening the border with France, that presents an enormous logistical challenge for the UK authorities. There are now thousands of truck and van drivers parked up in lay-bys all across the county of Kent. And getting the testing to them or them to the testing is going to be an enormous task. And all this just days before Christmas. This German businessman was just minutes away from boarding his ferry when the blockade came into force.
Yes, 3 cars from Freedom, so if I'd been 10 minutes earlier, I would be now on the other side and be safe and at home for Christmas with my family.
He's resigned to the possibility that he'll spend Christmas stuck in Dover, but he says the UK authorities have been totally inadequate.
Down there are public toilets which are not open for the drivers. They should be open. I think there should be handled coffee or tea to the drivers immediately. Government should do something. And they should do it immediately.
The airfield at Manston in Kent has been made a temporary lorry park, but the hundreds of vehicles here are again just a section of the true scale of the problem. And a scarcity of food and sanitary facilities is also creating tensions. The member for Parliament for Dover blames France for this crisis.
I just think the way in which the French government reacted was just really unhelpful. I mean, the UK and the French government, the haulage industry, the ferry industry, they've worked hand in glove over the last few months since the virus started to make sure that it's managed. And I think that's what should have happened here.
As night fell in Dover, the rain arrived and the drivers staged a blockade of their own. Many of these truckers and van drivers now facing their third night stranded here at Dover. Tempers are clearly starting to fray. They've occupied the roundabout, which is here at the entrance to the port behind me. They've blocked the traffic. There is a long snaking line of lorries in that direction. The police are trying to restore order, but for the moment, they're not being successful.
I stay in the parking on 2 days. My children, my son, my daughter is crying for me.
Reinforcements restored order, but the situation remains tense. Paul Brennan, Al Jazeera, Dover.